Splatoon 3 is by far the best in the entire series, despite what Twitter might tell you, but there is an issue that I don't think a single player who plays Splatoon will disagree about that has yet to be fixed. When I turn on my Switch to play Splatoon, I typically play with a competitive mindset. I always think about what I'm doing and I play to improve and better myself. Some people get on because they just enjoy sitting back and playing the game for a little bit without really thinking about what they're doing because they're on to have fun. Of course, there are other types of mindsets between these two, but those are the two basic mindsets people have. There is a third mindset in which people decide that they want to subscribe to this channel,
especially because I'm giving away a $50 eShop card that ends on the 9th of September.
But that's for YouTube. The point is, those are two extremely different mindsets to have, and neither player likes when the opposite gets on their team, because you have one person who's trying to get better and play their best, and another who just sat down to play the funny squid game. But you also have skill levels to take into account. When I was 10 on Splatoon 1, I still wanted to win, but I sucked at the game. There might be competitive players who queue up together in solo queue with the same goals, but that doesn't mean that they're at the same skill level. So, we have two main problems presented to us: how people play and their skill level. Most games have a system in place for both of these issues, so let's see what Splatoon 3's is. Oh right, there is none. Before the game came out, they talked about skill-based matchmaking based on how you played and your power, but this was simply a lie. In every mode in this game, there is absolutely nothing in place from keeping me from pairing with both a 10-year-old who just saved up enough money to buy this game and one of the best players in the West. I am neither close to being a noob nor one of the best players to grace the Splatoon scene, so why am I getting paired with these guys? This decision to have no system to separate players based on skill or if they're casual or competitive baffles me, especially with how this game handles events and power levels. Take Splatfest, an event that a lot of competitive players dislike but casuals really enjoy. I personally love Splatfest, but I can tell you right now it's only due to bias. This is where the lack of skill-based matchmaking really shines the brightest, because if I pair into pro, the players I'm paired with are not at my skill level most of the time. Like rollers who roll to paint, or splooshes who do whatever this is. It makes the match unfun for both parties, because we both just want to play the game, but comp players want to be sweaty and casuals want to be laid back. This happens in all modes too, which is why X rank is even more infuriating in this game, because it's supposed to be the most competitive and difficult mode in the game, yet it's been reduced to another mode that almost anyone can play. It hurts Anarchy Open too, because you have people who join it solo and others who join as a team, and a coordinated team, competitive or not, has an advantage over an all-solo team. But don't worry guys, we have challenges now, a totally good excuse for getting rid of League, right? No, Open is just not great. But the solution to these issues is really simple, and there are actually two. The first is to add a casual and competitive tab for certain modes in the game. This would include Turf and Anarchy series. These modes don't have power levels, so to mitigate casuals and competitive players bumping into one another, we have these tabs to separate the player base. This also could be used for casuals who might want to jump into a more competitive setting, so they choose the competitive tab, or competitive players who just want to sit back and relax for a bit, so they join the casual tab. As for the other modes, these would not have these tabs, and instead would have different divisions for whatever your power level is after doing your 5 placement matches, and match you based on other players with a similar power level. For example, you do your rank up matches in X, get placed in the gold division, which is 1700 to 2000 power, and then you'll only get paired with other players in that division. Once you go past 2000 power, you have to do a rank up match, which is the same as Anarchy series, and if you win them, then you can move on to the crystal division, which would be 2000 to 2300 power, and this power system would be the same in all the modes that have power levels, minus challenges because that power system is much different than the others. So for that, you just match with teams with similar power levels. All of this is an ideal world though, where the devs take the time to implement a system similar to this so that both casuals and competitive players don't have to dislike when we run into one another. But as of now, we actually have another system that kind of takes the place of this, and that's Sendu Queue. This system isn't perfect because it takes time to find players if you're going alone, then more time to find an opponent, and even more time to actually set up the private battle, and you also don't get any points for badges, weapons, or levels because they don't count in private battles, which sucks. But when the season's open, it is a good way for competitive players to fight one another and practice if they can't find a scrim or just don't want to play Anarchy Open.